they're watching. I know the kids are here with us.
Friends and neighbors filled Talmadge Park to grieve 4 children taken far too soon.
I wish there was something else I could have done legally, but I went through everything I could, everything that my lawyers could do, everything, I just never thought that someone would go and do this. You talk about the feeling of how do you prepare for this, you get down to almost the finish line, just to have someone cut your legs out from underneath you. And the only thing left to do is crawl across the finish line to bring the remains home.
June 23rd, 6:20 in the evening. Mechanicville police walk up to a door in Building M of the John S. Moore homes, expecting to check on one woman nobody had seen in days. They knock. Nothing. Building management lets them in. And what's on the other side of that door changes the direction of this case, before officers even finish stepping inside. 6 bodies, found that Tuesday evening. Police Chief William Rabbit would later describe it as simply as he could. Upon entering the residence, officers located 6 deceased individuals. No forced entry, no broken locks, no evidence that anyone outside this family had been involved. Which means the question investigators had to answer first wasn't who did this. It was, how does an entire family end up dead, together, inside an apartment that nobody broke into? Cases like this usually have an obvious shape early on. This one never did. And the deeper investigators went, the less it looked like anything they'd seen before. Here's the first complication. Investigators couldn't even confirm who they were looking at right away. The bodies had been there for what Chief Rabbit called an extended period of time, long enough that identification at the scene itself became difficult. The 6 people inside that apartment were Amy Steadman, 64, her daughter Sarah Myers, 44, and Myers' 4 children, Harper Harmon, 13, Hudson Harmon, 11, and 10-year-old twins Gavin and Gracelyn Harmon. The apartment belonged to Steadman. Myers and her 4 children lived in a separate unit in the same building. The kids were homeschooled, not enrolled in the local school district. It's a small city, about 5,200 people, the kind of place where everyone seems to know everyone. Now here's where it gets stranger. This was not the first time police had been near that family that month. According to the children's father, Brady Harmon, he last spoke to his kids by phone on June 7th. He says he was scheduled to talk to them again days later, but Sarah Myers told him the children were sick and couldn't come to the phone. After that, the calls stopped coming. Harmon says he requested welfare checks from Mechanicville police on June 13th, the 16th, the 17th, and the 19th. He claims officers told him they could hear sounds coming from inside the apartment, but no one ever answered the door. 4 separate visits. 4 times officers stood outside that door, and 4 times they walked away. To be clear, that account comes from Harmon himself, and police have not confirmed it publicly. But if it's accurate, it means law enforcement was at that building, hearing something, days before anyone went inside. If you'd gotten that call, told officers heard something behind a locked door, and the answer was just, try again later, what would you have done? Brady Harmon has had to live with whatever his own answer was, every day since. So why was he so desperate to get inside? Harmon had separated from Sarah Myers back in 2019. He says he hadn't seen his children in person since November of 2018. Years of custody litigation followed, most of it conducted over Zoom, with Myers never once appearing in court in Utah in person. Then, in April, a parenting plan was finally approved, giving Harmon 60 days with his kids every summer. July 1st to September 1st, the first real time together in more than 6 years. On June 2nd, court records show Harmon filed a motion alleging Myers had violated parts of that agreement, withholding records, giving an inaccurate address, blocking scheduled communication. That motion was due back in court days after the bodies were found. He never got to argue it. Around 2 weeks went by with no contact from the family at all. A neighbor eventually told police they hadn't heard from anyone in that time. That neighbor was Stephanie Sweeney, a family friend, and the one whose call finally brought police back to that door, the one that ended differently. Investigators have said there's no evidence anyone outside the group of 6 was involved, and no known threat to the wider public. That ruled out a stranger. That ruled out an intruder. But it left investigators with something far harder to process. A family, alone, behind a locked door, for what may have been weeks. So what actually happened in that apartment?
People who live here say Harris Avenue is a quiet neighborhood of young families and older people. They say the deaths are shocking and painful for the community.
Very upsetting. It's just having a little guy and knowing that there's 4 little babies that are no longer with us. It's very upsetting.
Despite the horrifying situation, neighbors say they know the community will come back stronger.
When something big happens in the community, when something devastating happens in the community, they all tend to band together.
After no one had seen the family members in a while, Mechanicville police were contacted and asked to do a welfare check. And at 6:20 p.m. Tuesday night, all 6 bodies were discovered in the grandmother's apartment here on Harris Avenue. At this point, it's not clear how long they had been here or how they died. Michelle, how do you begin to wrap your head around what has happened here?
I'm still trying to, honestly. The kids are supposed to be safe here. Families are supposed to be safe here. And obviously it's coming from the parent, maybe coming from the parent that this happened, but like I said, there are way other avenues to take. This just should have never happened.
This is where the case stops being simple. Police found a handwritten note inside that they say strongly suggests Amy Steadman, the grandmother, was involved in the deaths.
Evidence recovered during the investigation, including a handwritten note and other circumstantial evidence, strongly suggests that Amy Steadman was involved in the deaths. However, final determinations regarding responsibility will be made only after all investigative findings, toxicology results, and medical examiner reviews have been completed.
Rabbit hasn't released what the note said or confirmed who wrote it. Alongside it, investigators found numerous prescription and over-the-counter medications, evidence, police say, pointing toward intentional poisoning. That alone would be one of the most disturbing family tragedies New York has seen in years. But then comes the detail that doesn't fit. During autopsies conducted at Albany Medical Center, one of the 4 children was found to have suffered fatal, sharp force injuries. Police have declined to say which child. If the working theory is poisoning, medication, methodical, quiet, then why does one child's autopsy report something else entirely? Investigators haven't answered that. Publicly, they haven't even tried to. This case is still active. Toxicology hasn't come back. The note still hasn't been made public. That contradiction is one of the biggest unanswered pieces of the entire investigation, and right now, nobody outside it knows the answer. Chief Rabbit has been careful to say final responsibility won't be determined until toxicology results and the medical examiner's full review are complete. Right now, what exists is evidence pointing investigators in one direction, not a closed case. Brady Harmon doesn't see it that way. "It's my speculation they did that together," he told reporters, and all because they were going to spend 60 days with me. He said it plainly, that's his theory.
Why she do this to me?
Yeah. I'm so sorry. And you were supposed to see them, you were supposed to get custody of them for 2 months on July 1st, correct?
Yep.
And
this is September 1st.
And this was going to be the first time in 6 years, you said?
6.5.
6.5 years that you'd be able to see your kids?
In person. I spent hours in the courtroom. I spent thousands of dollars trying just to get access to them, trying to get any record for them at all in the parenting plan, just anything. I got nothing other than these 4 beautiful kids. They're gone. The 2, I feel, the 2 monsters that are responsible are the ones that took them from me.
Do you think that this is something, they plotted?
I think it was, in my opinion, it was both of them.
Yeah.
Not just the grandmother.
Was there?
It was.
Oh, go on.
No parent would ever allow this to happen or move it forward or anything. Oh, this is a good idea. Let's do this. Never.
Yeah. Were there any signs? I mean, any signs or anything, with
No.
their behavior that would suggest they would do something like this?
No, I never spoke to the grandmother since November 2019. And then even with her, I never spoke to her on the phone. It was always through text and everything. And even the texts were always vague, or the kids are sick, the kids have this, the kids have that. Constantly say that they're sick. I'm like, there's no way the kids are that sick that often.
How long were you two together?
Just 10 years.
Okay. And then you filed for divorce in 2020?
No, yeah, in 2020. And it took forever in the day because she would stonewall it.
No.
She would put a protective order in place, so then we couldn't, talk to her.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I sit there and she tried taking custody over to New York, which she can't because custody was here in Utah. She put a protective order for that. So, there's multiple years I couldn't speak to my kids.
Wow. And were you all living in Utah at the time?
Yeah.
And she moved herself, not only herself, but the kids to the New York State?
Yeah, on her, she left, according to the neighbor, because I didn't find out until later, that she moved November 29th of 2019.
Oh.
I found out December 12th, 2019, that she moved because my parents were getting notices of trash and the house being just, messed up. And my mom went over there with a family friend and to find that they had left. It is completely unfair. I tried everything legally that I could do, everything, to be able to see my kids, to be able to have a relationship with them, to even try to have a civilized relationship and the benefit of my kids. Because in the parenting plan, it says be cordial or civilized towards each other. Sure, you may have disagreements, but it has to be in the benefit of the kids and the kids only.
Investigators have not confirmed a motive, and they haven't confirmed Sarah Myers had any role at all. In fact, some who knew the family push back hard against any of it. Steadman's ex-husband, John Bauman, told reporters Amy did everything for them kids, and that he didn't believe she had anything to do with their deaths. Relatives have publicly asked people to stop assuming Sarah was responsible, saying the family is already grieving 6 losses without the added weight of online accusations. And online, the accusations went both directions. Comments accused Brady Harmon himself of domestic violence. He's denied it directly, saying he was the one who experienced abuse in the relationship, not the one who caused it. 2 grieving families, 2 competing narratives, and an investigation that, as of now, has confirmed almost none of it. What would you have believed if all you had were the pieces the public has seen? While the arguing continued online, something quieter was happening in Mechanicville itself. More than 70 people gathered at Tallmadge Park, organized by Stephanie Sweeney, the same friend who'd made that final welfare check call. They came to talk about the children, not the theories.
Neighbors signed posters, left stuffed animals, and shared memories of the children that they watched grow up. all while trying to make sense of an unimaginable loss.
We'll start with Harper because she was the oldest, my wild, I'll say the wild child, only because she liked to do the different color hair, and she was like obviously the oldest sister, keeping the little ones in line and, watching out for them all the time. Hudson was all about his roadblocks. He loved his technology. He was a genius when it comes to his, computers and that kind of stuff. He was just smarter than anybody I've known. Gavin, my little engineer, he could take the slightest and stupidest little things and put it together and make something you'd never believe or even think of doing. Then my little Graceland, my little dude, she was awesome. She was the quiet one. For the most part, did love to be outside. She was funny, very funny. She always tried to make you laugh.
Right now, people online are still arguing over who's to blame, while a community just wants 4 children remembered as more than a headline. Which version of this story do you think will actually be the one people remember? The argument or the children? So where does that leave the investigation itself? Police still haven't determined exactly when each person died. The note's full contents remain sealed. Toxicology results are still pending. Nobody outside the investigation knows why one child's cause of death looks nothing like the others. And no official motive has ever been confirmed. Only a father's own theory, and a department asking the public for patience. Here's what's actually been established, and nothing more than that. 6 people are dead: Amy Steadman, Sarah Myers, and Myers' 4 children, Harper, Hudson, Gavin, and Gracelyn. Police have found no evidence anyone outside that apartment was involved, and no threat to the wider public. Evidence, a note, medications, has led investigators to focus on Amy Steadman. But the cause and manner of every death is still officially pending, and Mechanicville police have repeatedly said they will not speculate until the science catches up. 4 officers heard something behind that door, 4 separate times, according to one father, and walked away. A 5th call, from a different neighbor, ended differently. By then, it was already too late to matter. Until toxicology comes back. Until that note is read aloud somewhere other than a press release. The most important questions in this case stay exactly where they've been since June 23rd, unanswered. What we do know is simple, and it's the only part of this story that needs no speculation at all. 6 lives were lost, 4 of them children who loved Roblox, building things, changing their hair, and being outside. Whatever the final report says, that's what Mechanicville lost.